Adam, I just asked this to Coach Dutcher, and I'm sure you've seen film of Wyoming. You played against Wyoming teams in the past. How different are they this year than last year with the new coaching staff and new offensive system?
Yeah, they're definitely a much different team than we saw last year. And the previous years that I've played them. They do have guys who have grown over the years. Guys like Maldonado, who has grown tremendously. His game has grown tremendously, and we've seen that on film. And just all around, their team is a more driving team. They play very, very aggressively. They get downhill almost every possession, and we haven't seen a team yet that has been able to shut their water off. Teams have been able to outscore them, but not shut them down offensively. So that's our goal for this game is to just stop them from getting downhill, playing our gaps, and just make them make tough twos all game.
As a defensive-oriented guy, do you embrace a challenge like that? You get it when you play a team that no one's really had a lot of success stopping.
Yeah, 100%. It definitely tests. This game is going to test our character again, and we're good because they're probably the most downhill driving team that we're going to play all season. So this is going to be a real test for not just me, but for everyone on the team to see that we can guard, at a really high level. We've proven that we can guard at a high level, but we want to do that consistently every game. So if we can stop them from getting downhill and make them make tough twos all game, then we'll be good.
And in terms of the game time changing, as a player, does that bother you, or you just kind of have to roll with it?
That's a good question because I literally just saw that on my phone that the game had changed to 6 p.m. and it's not a big deal. I mean, it's 4 hours away. At the end of the day, we're basketball players. We love this game, and no matter what time we play, we'll just go out there and hoop and do our thing.
Could you tell us a little bit about just what you were describing about being able to make tough twos, right? I mean, you've spoken a lot this year about the help that other people make when people drive. But while we shoot so many threes, being able to get, you kind of have to stay out on the shooter. So is making them forcing them to do tough twos, is that more one-on-one, or how exactly the dynamics of that work?
That's definitely going to be a part of it. We talked about that in film too, which is like guarding your yard. And that is like one-on-one. There's not going to be much help this game because they do extend the floor as well with their three-point shooting. So it's really going to be how tough you are on the ball to not let your man get inside the paint, don't get beat baseline, which is an emphasis we've really been talking about the past few days. The little things. It's all about the little things that we can do to stop them from getting inside, and then just being able to do two things at once, which is stunt for your man and help, and then also get back to the three-point shooter. So it's going to be a tough job, but I know we can get it done.
And then with Marcus Williams, Maldonado obviously was the news for last year, and then coming into this year expecting a lot of the same. But Williams has been terrific this year. What makes him so good, and what are some of the keys to stopping him?
Yeah, we just started watching film on him the other day, and I previously saw a couple of clips of him in other team film sessions we've watched. He's a very aggressive player. I mean, as a freshman, you could tell how much confidence he has in himself, and he likes to drive the ball. He likes to shoot it. He has an all-around game. So it's really going to be a team defensive job, and also the man guarding the ball to stop him and not let him get downhill all game, because he is, a lot of their team and a lot of their points. So if we can contain him and hold him, to under his average, then we'll be fine.
And then the last question for me, how do you make sure that the assist total, just keeps increasing, or plays at a little bit higher level? It seems like when you share the ball, you guys are scoring a lot, but sometimes that ball gets stuck. What's your role in the offense in being able to do some of that and helping to keep those numbers?
Yeah, well, I mean, as a team, our emphasis the past few games have just been able to play confident, move the ball, because we know sometimes it can get stagnant out there. And as you've seen in the past few games, we've been playing much more in transition, kicking the ball up. And for me in my role, I'm just a guy who, kind of wants to do everything on the floor. I move the ball because I know that the more we move it, the more touches we get, and the more rhythm everyone gets in. So that's definitely like a team-driven thing and player-driven thing. We have to get on the same page as far as moving the ball and knowing that when we move the ball, we're at our best. So when we do that, we play at a very high level and we can win this game.
Adam, you play in a league that has really, really diverse offensive systems. I mean, if you look at your last four opponents, Nevada, very guard-oriented, and then you go play Utah State with a big low-post presence in Cada, and then you go play the Princeton offense at altitude, and now you're playing a five-out drive and kick team in Wyoming. As someone who's been around that league, how hard is it to make those adjustments, every week and have to change and prepare to play a different system, or is it something that you really enjoy?
Yeah, it's definitely tough, but I think that we've proven over the years that we're a team that can adjust on the fly. We're a team that can adjust within a very short amount of time, and it's definitely tough playing at altitude and traveling to different places and playing teams with different schemes. Like Air Force played the matchup zone, and now we're gonna have to scout for a straight 5-man out offense, and they play man defense as well. So we have very smart players on this team, guys with high IQ, guys who want to get better, guys who are willing to take the challenge. So. I trust in every one of these guys to take the challenge, watch the film, get prepared, and I know we'll be prepared for anything that comes our way in any of these games.
KESHAD, you had that real big game early in the season, and it appeared to be, a sort of a breakout moment for you, and then you got hurt. Just talk about, has it been frustrating to have that injury, the timing of the injury more than anything else, with sort of your upward trajectory right before it?
Mm-hmm. Of course, it's always frustrating getting injured, but at the end of the day, you got to be able to strive and bounce back even stronger. So I just come in here, work hard every day, so I could have that moment again that I had in the beginning of the season.
Coach said that he played you against Utah State, even though he thought your timing, understandably wasn't going to be quite there, and it looked like you had a little bit less rust against Air Force. Do you feel like you're almost back to where you were before?
Yeah, I feel like I'm back to where I were before right now. Thank you to Coach for trusting me. He also already told me that my timing wasn't all the way back as soon as I came back, and he told me it'll just come. So just be patient and then stay working. It'll all fall back together like it was before.
And just take us through what exactly happened on that play. Did your legs get taken out from under you, and where did you land, and what exactly did you injure?
I was running the wing, and then when I went to the wing, I went up for a dunk. Roddy made contact with my body that took me off balance as I jumped off one foot, and then when I landed on my elbow, on my elbow and my tailbone. But once I landed on my elbow, my shoulder was basically pushed up and pushed out of socket. And then they said it popped back in the socket by itself, so I was okay. I didn't feel it right. I didn't feel it during the game, but I ended up feeling it that night.
Coach has been putting you in along with AG as kind of like the two bigs. And what does that unit do well, and how do you see yourself in that unit?
The unit for me and AG, that unit with me and him, we looking forward to basically just do our job, do the dirty work, do whatever we need to do to get the team going. Me and AG, two very energized players, so of course when that team need that spark, me and him, we got to get the job done. So I like playing with AG on my side.
And then you're talking about your shoulder. How are you doing now? You feel like you're 100% and you're back?
Yeah, I feel like I'm 100% for sure.
Terrific. And then with Wyoming coming up tomorrow, and the way that they spread the ball, how do you feel like you are going to need to be able to defend them to not allow for the open threes?
Wyoming, they're a team that pretty much runs off isolation, so it's basically going to be a pretty much guard your yard type game. But of course, we're always going to have to help a teammate out. So basically, our focal point is just focusing on our closeouts, making sure we close out good, strong, as they may be drivers and they may be shooters. So we just got to play them as if they're just basketball players and do what we've been taught our whole life.